Poke people, what's going on? We're back with another video. We're going to be talking about how you can start your online Pokemon card store. Should you try using TCGPlayer? Should you try using eBay? We're going to go through some pros and cons of each so that you guys can make a decision if you're also wanting to start a store in 2025, just like I did, because I promise it's not too late. So we'll get into that. But what's up? My name's Steve. This is Steel City Stacks. Thanks for tuning in. I recently started my store about 5 or 6 months ago. We just started making some content here. I'm super excited to be able to just keep pumping stuff out for you guys. It's just so much fun. So let's get into it because we have a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So let's get the big elephant out of the room. No, it is not too late for you to start your online Pokemon card store, business, whatever you want to call it. The market is still so hot. Hype is still insanely high. We're probably not even nearing the top of this market right now. So yes, it is a good time to get into this. And yes, there are some advantages and disadvantages into starting this. And you'll notice that I conveniently left streaming or whatnot out of this. I have no experience doing that. So I have no room to talk about anything like that. So we're going to just stick with the eBay TCG player thing, whatever you want to call it. So getting into it, first and foremost, the two platforms, while they are similar, they do have some very big differences. Now, I want to just address it straight away. TCGPlayer is really meant more for bulk selling or stuff valued probably less than like $20, just from my experience. We're talking bulk cards, we're talking like the commons, uncommons, the rares, everything, reverse holos, just any singles, stuff that you get like the big valued, like high valued collections and stuff like that, probably more suited for eBay. And we'll get into why that is. But you can also go back and forth if you want to do the sealed thing like I'm doing. It can work on either, but again, there are advantages and disadvantages into the sealed side of things. So we're going to start first and foremost just with listing stuff, ease of that, all of that good stuff. So TCGPlayer, when you get up to the top seller level, for sure, is way easier to list things than eBay, and it's not even close. TCGPlayer makes it so easy. There's multiple tools. You can opt into the pro seller program, and we'll get into the TCG, like the advanced TCGPlayer things in a future video. But for now, we'll just stick kind of like with the basics so you guys can get introduced to this along, with me and whatever. But TCGPlayer makes it easy for you to list stuff, even as you're just like a level 1 seller, level 2, level 3, whatever it is. But when you get to the pro level status or level 4, even, you can upload CSV files of all of your cards. And it's pretty easy just to go through and just be like, do all the way through, push it in, and it's good to go. eBay, on the other hand, not as easy. You got to take a lot of pictures with eBay. Like we're talking like front of it, back of it, all corners, front of it, all corners, the back of it. People want to see the lighting. They want to see if there's damage on it, if there's scratches, whatever. You have to be super specific when it comes to eBay. And while that does have a certain type of advantage, it does take up a lot of time. It really does. Once you get your TCGPlayer store set up, it's pretty easy to manage, right? On the flip side with eBay, you could definitely take a lot of time just taking all the photos, listing everything. They could do a better job of making things easier. At least I think so. And there are tools that could do it, but you got to pay for it. I'm not a big fan of that. It is what it is. Now, for eBay, the advantage or huge advantage that you have there is that people trust the site, right? The reputation that eBay has, I mean, it is a global company. And millions of people use that website every single day. So while you're getting most of the traffic, right, or like the ease of use, there's a lot of people that talk about, oh, the fees are crazy. Fees are crazy in both places, on TCGPlayer and eBay. So let's just get that out of the way as well. Both are worth it because you're paying for the audience. You're paying for the attention there. And the promotions and everything else that you'd be able to get on eBay versus TCGPlayer. But I've seen video after video, and I can do an advanced kind of breakdown of like what the fees look like for each, because I'm sure that would be helpful. But for the most part, you're going to end up paying fees no matter what you want to do. So if you're interested in doing something like this, you're going to just have to be comfortable with paying the fees until you get big enough that you can start your own store or your own website, and you don't have to worry about that. But for now, that's even on both sides. Just get it out of the way. But when people go to eBay, they trust the site. If you can build up your reputation, if you can get 100% feedback time and time and time and time and time again, that algorithm on eBay will reward you, right? I've had plenty of situations where I've sold a card or two or a box of something, and then another one goes, and then another one goes, and then another one goes, because the algorithm's picking up, this guy has good feedback, this guy's packaging stuff up quickly, it's arriving in good condition. The eBay gives you a lot more options to provide feedback as a buyer, so the algorithm will then present it to the seller, and the seller can use that information to better promote listings, to do this and that and everything else. But again, if you're going the bulk game, if you're going for cards that are valued, honest to God, less than $5 probably, eBay's probably just, it's not worth it because it's a lot of work and the margins really aren't that great when it comes to that. But if you're buying like large collections and you have that option, you're going to Facebook, you're going to card conventions, you're doing whatever, and you're getting product at 60, 70%, especially off of Facebook or whatever, your friend's collection, whatever it is, yard sales, garage sales, whatever, then yeah, eBay's probably the way that you're going to make a lot of money because you can, list those products higher because people trust eBay, right? And they trust your feedback that you're providing what you're saying it is, a near mint with, no whiting and it's this or that. People pay for that. They pay a premium to go on eBay. So you can make more money on eBay, or at least margin-wise. Let's get specific. You can make higher margins on eBay versus TCGPlayer. But again, everything has its own kind of checks and balances, and it's just stuff that you guys need to be aware of. Now, another thing that we need to talk about is the algorithms for both sites. Now, eBay, very specific. And it's still kind of up for debate on how exactly it works. And I'm no expert per se on eBay. I definitely use TCGPlayer more than I do eBay, like for sure. But eBay is very specific in it uses SEO or search engine optimization. It uses your feedback. It gives your speed in which you fill stuff and all of that, right? But the cool thing about eBay versus TCGPlayer is if you want to take it seriously, you have an absolutely insane advantage. And this, again, is another one of those advanced eBay topics that I can make a whole video about with the fee structure that is eBay, because that's just a whole thing in itself. But with this, you would be able to stagger your listings. If you take it seriously and you build your inventory up and your sales up to a point, you could then stagger your listings on eBay so that you have 30 going all at one time. You could then do, one in the morning, one at night, or two and two each day. And it's just like, it just continuously stacks up and 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 up. And that helps feed the algorithm. And it shows that you're a reputable seller, as long as you're following all the safe practices of sending the car off, packaging, and doing all that stuff. But you're listing things, you're selling stuff off, or you're sending stuff off in a proper manner. You're doing all of the things that eBay wants you to do. And if you do that, right, you're going to grow very quickly. It's a thing that I particularly haven't done. I've done like the basic steps. At some point I could get a lot better at it, but honestly, I don't do a lot of collections. Not yet. I don't really have the funds to do that. I will eventually get into that, and you guys will do it right along with me. I promise. We're going to get there someday. It may not be this month. It may not even be this calendar year, but we'll get there. But if that's something you're interested in, you could go and do that. And again, you can make those higher margins because people pay the premium to go on eBay. Not only that, but you can list stuff in the form of a timed auction. And you can design your timing and your listings to go live at a very specific point in time. That you can trigger with peak times on eBay. Look it up. That's specific. There's many, many videos out there about peak eBay listing times and stuff like that. But if you can get the hang of that and you can kind of build up that schedule, you're going to be selling stuff left and right. And it's just how it goes, right? Like I've seen video after video. I've seen success stories. I've seen this and that of sports cards on trading cards. It doesn't matter. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, football cards, baseball, it doesn't matter. eBay, like people go on eBay to look for this stuff. It's there. And even again, the boxes behind me, those sell all the time on eBay. They just do. It's a thing. So definitely a huge advantage that eBay has over TCGPlayer. So sticking with the advantages of eBay, let's talk about another one. That is their shipping methods. Now, eBay, being as large as they are, partners with the USPS to provide better rates for some of their stuff. If any trading card or sports card, whatever, is $19.99, like US dollars or below, you can put it in an eBay standard envelope, pay yourself a very flat rate, and you're good to go. And that's great. TCGPlayer definitely doesn't have that. Their shipping thing is very wonky. It's a big disadvantage for sure, but it is what it is. eBay definitely makes it easier. They have different options you can choose from. You can go with FedEx, you can go with UPS, USPS. There's a bunch of different stuff. You can kind of do it pretty easily. You input the weight, you do whatever. You can also do buyer paid or seller paid shipping. That's an advantage that you can do on on eBay. Whereas TCGPlayer, there's that flat $1.31 shipping no matter what, even if you have free shipping as a level 4 seller over $5 or whatever you set it to. It's $5. Everyone sets it to $5. But they have that $1.31 flat shipping because you have to pay for the envelope, you have to pay for the stamps, you have to pay for everything on TCGPlayer. So again, big advantage to eBay on this one. Now let's talk some disadvantages for eBay specifically. eBay, it's tough to kind of get into. There's been a lot of people that are selling on eBay, both in the sealed market and in the singles market. And that makes it tough. And it's tough to start no matter what. So this is a shared advantage for both, or disadvantage for both. But let's just stick to eBay. Because so many people go on eBay, it's really tough to get going. And a lot of people give up because they're not getting the traction that they think that they deserve. It's a slow grind. It's a lot slower on eBay for sure. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But if you go and you grind your way up, you turn that disadvantage into a huge advantage where you can make your own store on, or some call it a store or whatever, on eBay, and you unlock some bigger perks. You can do promotions, you can do discounts, sales, an email list. There's a lot that you can do, sure, but it's definitely a lot slower to start off because you can't be as competitive on eBay, especially because you're working with stuff that, again, is at least worth more than $1 or $2. Hopefully it's above $5 or more, because then cards kind of fly off the shelves, so to speak. But that is what it is. Now let's talk some advantages about TCGPlayer. TCGPlayer is fundamentally different in the sense that you can do a little bit of everything with greater success than on eBay. The ease of use, as I mentioned, on TCGPlayer definitely beats eBay, and there's no contest there. How you're able to list stuff, as I mentioned, with the CSV files once you hit a certain level is fantastic. The problem is when you start listing cards like this guy here, this Dynamo, or this Pokegear from, I believe this is Black Bolt. Yeah, Black Bolt. Stuff like that doesn't necessarily sell, as quickly. TCGPlayer is a volume game, right? It's all about listing as much as you can, doing stuff every day. You're listing something every day. You're changing the price of it every day, because the algorithm there on TCGPlayer is a lot more tailor-made to listing quantity, accuracy, how fast you're filling an order, how accurate your orders are. If you're making mistakes, if you have to offer a refund and do this and do that, all of that is a lot faster than it is on eBay. Now, the feedback system for TCGPlayer is not that great, but it does allow a faster response time for the sellers. So you can check it every single day. It updates once per day. You're able to see everything. You can see all the comments. You can see how people rated your stuff. And you can do the same thing on eBay, but it's a little bit more clear on TCGPlayer, and that is by far an absolutely huge advantage. But there are some disadvantages as well when it comes to TCGPlayer, and we do need to talk about it. So disadvantages for TCGPlayer. The biggest one by far is the payout structure. I don't mean how much they take and how the fees work and all that other stuff. I'm talking about how long it takes to get your money. It is by far the number one most frustrating thing about TCGPlayer. When I sell something, like I just sold 23 of those packs right before I started recording, I'm not seeing that the funds for that for probably 2.5 weeks. It's a long time, right? In this whole thing, cash flow is incredibly important. I want my money to go and reinvest to get more stock and do better things and greater things, right? It's the whole point of this. On TCGPlayer, does not matter. They are going to make you wait. It is just the name of the game, for sure. And it sucks. It's the worst thing about it. You guys need to be aware of it. If you think you're just going to get your money, 3 days after the fact or whatever, it's not going to work, especially if you don't put tracking on your stuff, then you're really waiting, because they pay you based off of when stuff is delivered. And if you don't put a tracking number with the package that you're sending, they're going to make you wait the full 2 weeks. Now, if you put a tracking number on it, yes, it will change how quickly you get paid out. That is a thing for sure. So if you're in the sealed side of things and you are putting tracking on a lot of stuff, you're good to go. But for the most part, it's not great with it. Another disadvantage actually is the whole tracking system. They recommend that you put tracking on orders over $20 or more. Now, we can get into it in the future, but most things on TCGPlayer, I felt, are sent in envelopes. There's a 3-ounce limit for what you can send on an envelope on TCGPlayer, just like in the USPS in general. So that being said, there's a lot of times if you sell a lot of cards or a lot of packs, you're going to have to put stuff, in a bubble mailer or in some type of bigger envelope that's going to have tracking on it or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, because it's more that you have to pay. eBay lets you, again, like I said, with the whole, if it's under $19.99, whatever, you have to pay for the tracking that way and on TCGPlayer, and it's really unfortunate, but a system that exists for sure. Now, I saved the biggest disadvantage for last because it is so important for you guys to understand, and I should have probably said this in the beginning, but this is for the people that stick around to watch and listen to this video. On TCGPlayer, you for sure, without a doubt, have the most competitive market in terms of everyone's trying to log on there, be a seller, especially as a no-name seller, and people undercut you by a penny every single time, right? It just happens. To be honest with you guys, I don't have a surefire method to vault you up into level 4 so that you can, get the badges and, get the higher listing tools and stuff like that, the more valuable listing tools. I don't have a method like that. The biggest, most successful one I've seen is someone selling Japanese booster packs and literally undercutting the market by a penny all day, right? I'm not going to mention the name of this individual and their store, but it's personally, it's annoyed me because it just drives the price of everything down, and it's really hard to turn a margin and turn a profit in this situation. And that's what TCGPlayer is. You're not going to make money in the first 6 months, 7, 8, 9 months, but probably longer than that, because I don't know. I haven't been doing it for that long yet, but I know I'm not going to be able to turn a profit for a good while. And it's because of stuff like this. It's why I'm trying to get myself out there and provide an actual storefront that TCGPlayer provides to you as a level 4 pro seller. And you have to opt into the pro seller program, pay higher fees, again, future video, whatever. But it's not as nice to be so competitive on TCGPlayer because sales can be really slow if you're not being as competitive as possible. You know, hitting that lowest, click the button for the lowest listing price, that's a load of crap. Don't do that, right? Be competitive. You got to stay up to date with it. And it's hard until you hit level 4 because then you got to manage all the cards that you're listing, especially, again, if you're listing like the little bulk cards, whatever, trainer cards. So huge disadvantage there for sure. Like absolutely massive, massive, massive disadvantage on TCGPlayer. But again, you get what you can, and you kind of you make do with what you got. So it's really just up to that. So let's wrap this one up as quick as we can because this one was going to be a little bit longer of an intro video than I wanted it to be, but there's just so much information that I wanted to share with you guys and be honest about it. So let's get into it. Let's just recap here. TCGPlayer, it's a lot easier to list stuff. The payout structure and the timing that which you then get paid for that work is not great. It takes a long time to do. It's a hyper competitive market where people undercut you at any given point, but the barrier to entry is so low and it's so easy to just list stuff and manage that and send stuff off. And it really is. If you're looking at this, if you're looking at this as more of like a passive income and a side hustle and just a side business that you could do just in your spare time, do it. It's really easy. Once you get set up with it, very easy. It's a little frustrating for sure, but it has its pros and cons, especially on the sealed side. Maybe not recommend, really kind of hard. I'm still figuring out myself. I don't really have any tips and tricks. I just got to be vigilant with the marketing and everything else and telling people about the product. You know, that's the best way of doing it for sure. Even on eBay, like that's the way to do it. But TCGPlayer, if you're looking for something to ease your way into it and learn how to do this, is definitely the way to go. Highly recommend it. I do most of my business on TCGPlayer. It's because I put the hard work in and I did what I had to do and I hit a certain point and I've made it easy for myself. Now, eBay, on the other hand, definitely has, I'd say, more advantages than disadvantages, but the barrier to entry is a lot higher and your type of inventory that you're going to need to do this is a lot higher and worth more. So if you have more cash available to do this, or you have more valuable cards to list, definitely do that. If you can get yourself into a good enough schedule and be able to list stuff consistently on eBay and control it more manually versus an automated system like on TCGPlayer, eBay is for you. Now, again, there's a lot of different fees and stuff that go into it, and the algorithm's really weird on eBay. But if you can stick with it, you can figure it out, it can definitely make you more money than TCGPlayer, and that's not even a question. But let's talk about one final thing to wrap this up, because it is by far the most important thing. Now, the biggest lesson that I can give you guys, and I cannot stress this enough, is that you are going to fail at this. At least at first. I promise you're going to fail. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be time consuming. It's going to be challenging. You're going to get frustrated that you're not selling things. You're going to be like, I did this right and this right. Why am I not getting the sales? Why isn't my stuff catching? It's because you're new. It's because you got to crack the barrier. You got to get through it. You got to toughen up. It's like what I said in some of the previous videos. You got to just tune out everything else that's negative. Focus on what you believe in. If you need help, ask. If you need help, go look at stuff. Go look at other people that have been doing this, right? But if you think you're just going to waltz in here and you're going to be the next PokeNE or Catch 'em All Collectibles or Pro Football Pete on eBay, you guys have another thing coming. Like it's not going to happen. I've been doing this for half a year at this point. I'm nowhere close to hitting that point. I have another year and a half of doing this at an absolute minimum. But I know that, and I'm willing to put the work in because I care about it and I think I can make it work. And that's the big lesson. Both of these can work. You can make them work together. That's the correct answer. If you're serious about this and you're trying to make money with this, just in the side, you're not trying to create this like massive store, or maybe you are, it's fine too. But if you're like me and you're just trying to do something aside from your 9 to 5 to prepare yourself for the future and what you want to do in your life, you can do it. And you can do both things together. You can make them work. You could have the ease that is TCGPlayer and the higher margins and stuff that eBay have. And that's just how it works, right? It's perfectly fine. You can make each other work for them, right? Like make your money work for itself, or whatever the saying is. It can work. You just got to put the hard work in, and you got to look at videos and prepare yourself and look online for articles and stuff like that, and believe in yourself that you can do it. So this was a very kind of like, I don't want to say all over the place, but this definitely was a lot of information all at one time. And to be honest, I'm recording this pretty late at night because so much has happened, but we're going to break it down. I have a whole playlist idea that I want to do, talking basics on TCGPlayer, how the levels work, selling stuff, packing orders, doing this, doing that. I want to walk you guys through each side of both of them to help you guys make a better decision on what you need to do. So if you found this information actionable, you found it entertaining, hit that like button, subscribe for more, leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking, let me know what I can improve on. Again, this is like one of my early videos. I'm just getting the hang of this. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll have a lot more in the future.